10 years after its inception, ICFAI felt the need for management education in the country and came into business established in 1995 and has now completed more than 2 decades of its existence. Over these years, IBS has come to be known as an institution which produces excellent leaders for the industry. The corporates have recognized this fact and have been patronizing IBS through the placement of the students for various positions in the industry. IBS, the facilitator, has been grooming its students to face this challenging environment and meet the requirements of the new age leadership. Well-established infrastructure spread all over the country, backed by a well-researched curriculum and academic methodology. To meet the current needs of the industry, IBS has been imparting quality education to scores of students for over more than 2 decades since its inception. Them career-oriented and industry-ready has been the hallmark of the IBS brand of education over these years. IBS has been continuously churning out top-notch professionals year after year from its many campuses. All IBS campuses follow a common program structure and have a centrally designed curriculum. However, each campus has the freedom to innovate and experiment with different educational methodologies and practices within this overall framework. IBS has world-class professors, state-of-the-art technology, and well-equipped campuses, everything for a student to excel in their chosen field, have a rich blend of academic and industrial experience. They are guides and mentors who shape and help students realize their potential. In addition to teaching, IBS faculty members are actively involved in research, publishing, and consulting. The curriculum at IBS is constantly upgraded and incorporates the latest body of knowledge nationally and internationally. The institute consults extensively with academic and industry experts in developing the curriculum to ensure that it is relevant and contemporary. Students at IBS can specialize in a variety of areas: finance, human resources management, marketing, and operations. Life at IBS is not just all work. Students to participate in a variety of extracurricular activities like events, cultural shows, and community service projects. These activities provide them the much-needed reprieve from the stringent demands of the coursework and also play a role in their personality development.
Good evening to all of you. Thank you very much for that introduction, and a warm good evening to all the participants, speakers, partners, and everybody around the air meet today. This is my third time in BBLF, and I must thank Benedict for having us here again. And we hope to do some good discussions and take home great learnings from this event as well. Today, I'm going to talk about the branding challenges in a polarized world. While the polarized world is throwing up a lot of challenges and it is provocative at times, we need to handle this with a great deal of patience and preparedness. So we can't have equal amount of reaction to a polarized world. We need to have a different kind of reaction in order to cope with it, in order to do a very good job with respect to dealing with the polarized world. So I have a small presentation. I'll breeze through that, and then later I'll catch up with you for questions. And again, while handling all the questions, while handling the presentation slides, we promise that we will deal with a great deal of patience. Hope I'm visible there. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, sir, but I can't see your screen. I can hear you and you're visible, but your screen sharing, I'm not sure is on yet.
Okay. We'll correct that. Okay.
Noted, sir. We are waiting for that.
We got it?
Noted. We are not able to see the screen. Probably the one what you tried before during the test.
Is that fine?
Perfect, sir.
I hope I'm there now.
Yes.
Okay, great. This is what we are going to talk about, and as we grow, as we learn, and as we experience and seek a lot of exposure, it is natural that there are biases of knowledge and biases of experience. It is pretty natural, and therefore we get stuck up in what is called strong identities, generate differing views from others, and therefore also the behavior is very, very different. This is the byproduct of civilization. So what I'm trying to say is it's pretty natural that we have a polarized world. But then there are extremities when you idolize your hero and try to create some kind of masculinity around it. You tend to see great deal of positivity with that hero and negativity with others. That is something called toxic positivity, or sometimes fatal optimism as well. Now, anthropologically, if you see, human beings are fundamentally different. They come from various regions, backgrounds, and then they're bound to be different. And therefore, today what we see in any country, including India, is only a melting pot of a variety of those differences taken forward. It is human to be different, and we need to understand that basically. And civilization also means that I being very different will not harm or influence negatively on others' freedoms and others being very different. So the genesis of law takes its birth from this understanding that we all have to have our own order drawn from this kind of chaos. And therefore, we need to believe in that people are fundamentally different from different religion, different region, different nation, different caste, language, so on and so forth. Now, compounded with this, we have the proliferation of internet, where we are getting connected on social media. We have usage of smartphones that is going up pretty smartly, and then we have a lot of people sharing and liking or disliking others' thought processes. There is an overcrowded world of thought processes, and sometimes and naturally there is an encroachment into the thought process that is happening. But then the other end of it is, you can dislike, you can probably differ, but if you have an agenda to attack someone, like there are coordinated bot attacks, they are basically the folks which we call them troll factories. There are trolls. Trolls are different from having different opinion. That's the fundamental point here. There are no fault lines according to me. As I said just now, human beings are evolving, they are growing, and they carve out a different way of living, and therefore they seem to be different. That is a mutation in the evolutionary process, but it's not a fault line. It is our propensity to mingle as we come from different region or different school of thought or different school itself. We tend to mingle with others who come from various other varied backgrounds. But assuming that politically, we don't want these differences and we throw out, tomorrow, you and I, when we meet, coming from different streets, also start finding differences, saying that street number 1 guy should not have any friendship with street number 2 guy, so on and so forth. It doesn't end anywhere. So differences have to be assimilated and we need to coexist. Well, trolls on the other hand, differences is fine, but trolls, as I said, they are extreme, and probably they search for negatives in everything that is commented, everything that is talked about. Something like this. We need to always look and analyze deeper into what kind of trolls are and unveil the face behind that particular troll factory. Apparently, we understand that there were about 85,000 fake social media accounts that were created during the recent case when we all were completely seized on TV and digital media about the Sushant Singh Rajput, the case of suicide or death, as is being alleged. But if 85,000 fake social media accounts can be created, they can influence anyone either way. So we need to actually dig deeper and analyze those trolls and see what is the dirty, demonic face behind. Criticism, again, I'm summarizing, criticism is fine, differing response is fine as long as it is reasonable. But if it is unreasonable expression of anger, then it is troll, and that needs to be tackled in a different way. We need to put down, express strong ideas against atrocities, domination, oppression, and human greed and assault kind of stories. On one hand, everyone has a freedom to talk about anything, but if they are transgressing the lines and committing atrocities, dominating and assaulting others, yes, we need to stop. Troll, yes, in this context, is a fallout of a polarized world. As I said in the beginning, it's an extreme area or extreme quadrant of the polarized world. Now, the Tanishq advertisement that we all talk about, there is actually nothing wrong about the advertisement, as ASCII has given it a clean check in terms of what it is and what it is not. In fact, it is talking about celebration, and it is talking about a bride of a different religion and groom of a different religion. That's all. And therefore, it is not actually causing anyone to actually create an offensive situation. It is not repulsive, it is not vulgar, it is not indecent. It is a simple ad, and therefore the reaction to it was falling in the area of troll, and it was unreasonable in my view. I didn't see any love jihad here. We are only talking about an area where there is a reason for happiness to someone and someone is celebrating, and therefore that was shown in the advertisement. It celebrates coming together of the people from different walks of life, and it's, some people say the timing is of the advertisement is bad, they have not done proper analysis. All that I do not believe. I only believe that the brands which come up with this kind of purpose-led advertisements or a cause that they stand by, I think they should stay the course and be seen as someone who are really meaning that their purpose that they stand for. Even in this case, this is supported by the Constitution of India. It is completely legal. As I said earlier, that we have drawn order from chaos. The genesis of law has come from this, and therefore when there are different religions, people from different castes and different backgrounds are all living in a country, they fall in love, they get married, and therefore that has to be sanctified and that has to be endorsed. So the Constitution of India does it, and therefore nothing illegal about it as well. Now, there's a survey done by Brands in Motion last year, and the respondents feel that about 74 of them want their brands to take a stand on the issues that matter to them. This is a very important statistic that we need to go by. What is the expectation of our consumers, and what do they expect of various brands? Brands are basically living beings, and brands also have to have space in our minds and hearts, and their opinions are important and symbiotic with respect to those who are non-brands. Therefore, the people who are followers of the brands say that brands need to stand for the issues that matter to them. What it means is they need to find their purpose and lead with it. Mutual respect has to be reinforced, and look at the local actions and create global impact. And that's what is the greater expectation by the respondents and followers of these brands. And 83% of them believe that brands are capable of providing stability in a relatively unstable, volatile world that we are facing and grappling with every day. This is another expectation from the same study. What it means is that brands should play a greater role in providing which are not given by the traditional sources. That's what is expected of them. Across various geographies and generations and genders, they would like to expect some stability through various brands of various categories and segments in this world. Now, woke is something which awakens your conscience, and some of these things are done by the brands. As is expected of them, brands resort to woke advertising and woke, and some of the experts say that India is not just ready for woke. India is never going to tell you with a signboard saying that, hey, I'm now ready, you start woke advertising. That's never going to happen. I think woke is something when you're sleeping, people are going to wake you up, and that is going to be the job of some of the actively thinking brands that are focused on society, that are focused on the followers, and for the larger good of the nation. When Apple started its advertising, everybody thought that it is anti-communist, but then it did break some ground rules and it caught a lot of attention. We all know the United Colors of Benetton advertising. Very, very different. Very recently, back home, we have seen our Rang Lai Sang advertisement from HUL. And of course, there was a lot of negativity in terms of trolling with respect to this ad. And they stood their ground. They did not withdraw this advertisement, and it went through. But that showed that HUL actually was quite keen on having to be seen as being behind this purpose, and they really meant it. Brands which are not just displaying advertisements about various themes, but brands that on the ground also support those causes. For example, if your brand is creating a lot of hygiene factor where germ infection is eradicated, then they are also working on the ground in rural areas, suburban areas, and even urban areas to actually undertake a lot of activities that build a hygiene, that build health for kids. So it's not just on air, it is also on the ground that they continue their purpose, and therefore they are 360 degrees in their appeal. Brands always look for those not just black and white plots, but they also look for the gray areas, and that's where I think creative plots are made, and they graze on those gray avenues in order to communicate their brand purposes, and there's nothing wrong with this. And therefore, they should be allowed to do it as long as they don't hurt others, in the sense that they don't impinge on others' rights. Now, 2018, a legacy in the making. There are 5 important lessons or challenges that we need to face as brands when we deal with these things. Is we need to invest more in people than processes, and imagine brands more inside out. We need to influence through our brand saliency. And I think when we stand for a purpose by being unconventional, we still can make money. And of course, we need to build on the past rather than repeating and getting stuck in the past. These are the 5 important aspects that brands who want to build lasting brands, where they move people, not just goods, and that's what they can follow. Businesses, when they invent a platform, a big hue and cry and responses, and that's natural. You need to have your creative plot on the gray areas, and then have as many customer segments as possible without hurting others. Whether we like it or not, business can change. It can be a force of change, and definitely steps upon the social context of the day. Advertising becomes the mouthpiece of those businesses, and there's nothing surprising when they do it. Yes. Now, mistakes are there. When a brand says, I don't serve you because Nagaland is not in our country, is a mistake. We need to pull out and apologize. This side is also extremely important. And then there are brands which say that, repeatedly they stereotype, repeatedly they show women as objects of desire. This also has to stop. This is a reasonable objection in my view. Now, all in all, the root cause for trolls, the root cause for negativity in this polarized world is to straitjacket everything into one nation, one thinking, or one food, one kind of living rigidity. I think that is something which we need to shed, otherwise we will not be able to accommodate others. And therefore, this creation of fault lines, artificial fault lines, will have to be stopped, and not let some of the interested or vested interests to prey on these fault lines, which itself is artificial.
Mr. Rao, hi, sorry to interrupt you. So taking that cue, because we just heard the buzzer. So taking that cue, can we conclude on the note of how to tackle that kind of situation?
Yes, I think
we have a brand, because you've spoken about a range of brands.
Yes.
So, how are they tackling it? How can they tackle it? And then your concluding remarks on that?
Yes, I think believe in something. I go by this dictum that believe in something even if it means sacrificing everything, like Nike has done it. Otherwise, don't even step into that. Now, if you have chosen to do it very nicely, even if there is an erosion of your stock value temporarily, you will regain it after some time. Therefore, you need to stay your purpose. That is what I would advise brands to do that. Otherwise, just not get into it. And in fact, brands are tools for us to put spine into the societies, and therefore use those opportunities very well and stand for the purposes that you believe in with great conviction.